Now, this is number 38. Now, I talked about my grandma. This time, it's my grandpa. Grandfather, you know, somebody that means the world to you. Now, in this case, his heritage, where he came from, it was a long line. I don't particularly know everything about him in a sense. I just know that he was loved and that he was lost when he left us. But but as I remember as a kid, his heritage came back from a long line of history. That's about a last name Enriquez. That majority it came from him. You know, it's is that I think he was part Italian, Mexican. I think the list goes on about his background, his heritage, and where he came from. And I do believe that he fought in some war. I don't know which war it was between World War One or World War Two. I don't know. I just know he fought sometime in some war. And and as kids growing up, especially my cousins, that I don't know what it was. He just didn't like our moms dating black guys. I don't think he had no problem with black men in general. I just think he just didn't like his daughters to date black men. But the funny thing was that our moms and my aunties, they all wind up anyway, either marrying him or dating a black guy, or having kids by them in some sense of form. So at the time, he couldn't do really nothing about it. Their you know their daughters went through so much. His daughters went through so much and been through so much, and I guess he got tired of it. But things was that he had a real love for beer. He had real love for hardcore whiskey, and he also had his real closest friends. And the sad part about it, in his time, he lost majority of all his friends that he drank with. He lived with in the projects of Chicago, and he lost all of them, including himself. Um, and this story is majority is never been told. That we too much don't talk about it. But growing up as a kid, we was all me and my cousins. We was always chasing around the house with him in his underwear, his white T-shirt, and he used to always grab a knife. He used to always chase us around or whatever. But we used to always wonder why he used to always chase around. He never chased the other cousin of mine. He never chased Joe. He always chased me, Caesar, and Mitch. He always chased around the house. We don't know why. Maybe he didn't like us because we were like black. I can't say. So I'm not trying to offend anybody. I don't know really per se what was the reason why he did that for. But we use it as fun. We used to just use it, just have the fun, have something to do, just to mess with our grandpa, just to have fun, something to do. Um, and cousin Joe, he used to always the candy. We never got none of the candy from grandpa, and the only way we got the candy was from my grandma. So it was kind of a crazy, I guess, crazy childhood thing with our grandfather, I guess. We loved candy too, but he just would not give it to us. We don't know reason why. He just loved Joe more than he loved us in a sense. But we always, we was all even in a sense. So that's a good thing. I guess we was all evenly trade fair, I guess. I don't know. But and that went on for years and years with him. He did his drinking. He chased around the house. He did his thing. But between my grandmother and grandfather, they loved each other very much. You know, they would. He did so much, in a sense, I guess, for his family. As far as I know, I don't know all of it. I just know he did as much as he could. But on the day of his last day of his life, in a sense, it was that um, cousins was in the room. You know, doing our thing in there, and everybody was everywhere, and as what I've heard is that he was at the top of the stairs, brick stairs in the projects on Calumet, Mercy Hospital, whatever, and that he fell all the way down the stairs and he hit his head on the back of the back door, and 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 when we got out of when we tried, we got out of the room and we saw him sitting there, just sitting there. And I think at the time, I think my aunties or my mom or whoever was trying to come in, but they couldn't because he was sitting right there and couldn't move, nothing. And then they try to tell us to go inside, to tell us to go back in the room, but we couldn't. We just couldn't. We couldn't. That was our grandpa. Just sitting there thinking about all the stuff that we went through. He chased around the house and everything. It's just we just couldn't go. We wanted to sit there. So what we all did is we used to sit all on the stairs, no particular order, just sat on the stairs, just looking down, watching. And then they call the cops. They try to find out what's going on, and then he hit his head on the doorknob. And then before we knew it, he slid off the doorknob and he was on the floor, laying on the floor in an angled position on the floor. They had cops, the ambulance came, and they took him to the hospital. And then when we took to the hospital, we all wanted to go to the hospital, but our grandmother would not let us go. Didn't let us go. And we all start crying because our family member was like, we felt like he was leaving us right then and there. And it was just a matter of time. But we try to keep the faith. We try to keep the prayers up and hope for the best. But as far as we know, as far as I know, that he was on an ox machine. He was on the ox machine, and he was on a breathing machine, and that technically he was brain dead, I guess, in a sense. I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember everything about what happened. I only remember as much as I can, as far as I know. But that day would be always be remembered because that was the day that we watched our grandpa life just sit there. Nothing was mobile. Nothing was out of him. Nothing of gestures or words he said. It was like the whole family was in shock that day. And then they had to make a tough decision. And so they did. And then when we found out, he was gone. And everything changed. Everybody's attitudes, everybody's mood changed. And we had to arrange a funeral. And grandmother, she was devastated. She lost all her years that she married, invested time in, that her husband was gone, that who she was so hurt and devastated, as well as the family is lost and devastated. And that when it came to it, we had the funeral, and then we had him cremated, and we went to Lake Michigan and with roses, and we all took a part of him and spread him in Lake Michigan, as well as a flower. And then a father from Trinity Church in Chicago, by the old apartment, Father Rain, he gave a speech, a prayer, and we had to say goodbye to him forever that day. And that whole day we was just emotional wreck. And then we all try to figure out what are we supposed to do, how are we supposed to get on with our lives. We couldn't. It was hard to try to concentrate because we lost somebody. Good memory, bad memories, whatever. It's just our last name, our legacy of our last name of Enriquez is with him. And anything I wanted to say this, Grandpa, I love you. I don't know the reason why you chased us as you did, but you did. It was fun. And I love you. And you will always be missed. Our last name is your legacy. A part of you is always with us. In our dreams, in our heart, in our lives, as the Enriquez family. You shall be missed, Grandpa. Always and forever. I love you. We all love you, miss you. And I hope you're up there in a better place. And it's sad and very terrible to see you leave us. But I guess it was better off that you're in a better place. And apparently you must have been hurting. That's the reason why you took it from us. So if anybody out there who has ever lost anybody who know how this feel, I feel you and I'm with you. Love for you all. I love you, Grandpa. Bye.